Greetings, viewers. Thanks for joining me and Slim and Oswald out in the shop today for just a few minutes on the Tacoma's donor engine. Been daily driving the 4Runner, still with the front drive shaft out and the ADD permanently locked in. It's had to be my daily as I am still sans Tundra and awaiting information from the insurance company. I've already been paid for my trailer, but I can't go get a new trailer until I get a truck. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I said I would go over this engine and go over what I had planned to do with it. Now, it is easy to work on it while it's out. There's no question about that. Doing the timing set and valve covers and stuff is way easier to do while it's out. Also costs money. If you have watched my show, you know the truck I've spent the most money on for no reason is my wheeling truck. Now there's a big reason for that because I really enjoy rock crawling and that truck is working fantastic and I'm really happy with it. So not a waste of money, but money for new parts that I don't generally like to do unless I have to. This had some valve covers weeping. Now, keep in mind too, this engine drove down the road, four-wheel drive worked, transmission worked, AC worked. I like to, what I say, pull them while they're hot. I will run it up to operating temperature as soon as it starts to cool down enough that I can open the radiator. I drain the radiator and pull the motors. So anyway, I like to pull them knowing they just ran. So all that said, yeah, there's some oil leaking around the valve covers. I used my smallest drive and smallest drive ratchet, quarter drive with a extension on it, and then just put a couple fingers on it and pull them tight. Already did these. That one could stand just a little bit more, see? But you don't want to do too much because, one, these are old gaskets. They're dried and cracked. They can be cranked down and smushed a little bit to bring you a little bit of your weeping to stop. Yeah, I got a set of gaskets, but I don't have the intake gaskets. It'd be easier to do while it's out. But it's also money I would have to spend and a job that's not that difficult when it's in the vehicle. If you want to inspect your timing, of course, when your top hose is on, you can't take this all the way off, but you can loosen all of these bolts and take that cover off and get a good look at your timing belt. Yes, people will say you can't tell the condition of a timing belt by looking at it, whether it's new, old, used, whatever. That's bullshit because you can. Now, if you've never seen one before, you probably shouldn't try to give a visual inspection other than that's not got cracks and teeth missing. I'll drive that home. Worry about its actual condition and when it needs replaced later. If you've looked at enough of these that were cracked everywhere, above every tooth, have a crack, threadbare, where you can't count the layers anymore. So you can see in there that belt is layers of rubber and material in the middle to keep it all together. Okay, this belt at 140,000 miles, I highly doubt is the original OE Toyota. This vehicle was well maintained, and while it had a bunch of paperwork from Toyota dealership, belt replacement was not in there, but not everything was in there, I'm sure. I don't know. I'm visually inspecting this belt and saying this will last long enough for me to put it in, get that Tacoma up and running, see how well I like it, and drive it around for a bit before that needs to be replaced. I don't like to use cheap kits. I like to use Toyota stuff when I think it's necessary. Definitely necessary when you're doing the timing kit. The Ace and water pump comes in a lot of the kits. The Gates belts are really good. The really good aftermarket kits aren't that much cheaper than the Toyota kit. So anyway, enough to say about that. I'm visually inspecting that belt and saying, yes, this will pass. So like I say, if you're looking at one, you can see there's debris. There's a debris field of belt material, but isn't terrible. And that belt is definitely usable for a while longer. Went on way too long about that. This vehicle did set and drip ATF in my garage before I tore it apart. It was coming from these hoses here, I was sure, but I did fill up and pressure test these hoses, dumped fluid in, plugged that one off, pressurized that one. No leaks anywhere, but especially not there. And then vice versa, plug that one, pressure tested this one down here. No leaks. So I'm satisfied that my power steering lines are good because I'm going to need them. This vehicle had good working air conditioning, and so does that one. So I made sure to save all the air conditioning pieces. Yeah, again, it could be a lot easier, and I could take more time with the project and wait and save up and replace those things, but just not gonna do it. Again, neither one of those are that hard to do in the vehicle. I will put new motor mounts on. Can't even see those. I did lube up these lines down here real well with rust penetrant in hopes that they come off and can be saved. If not, it'll be something I have to buy. But you know, I don't like to buy anything unless it's absolutely necessary. Like I didn't have any spare lockers and gears for that, so I had to buy new things, but I like to reuse whenever possible. Not sure what I'm going to need, but I had everything working off of that and everything working off of this. So what am I going to do to all this before I put it in? Surprisingly little. Go around and make sure it's right. Bet everything is tight that I can get. I guess I've already made sure it's pretty right. It ran and drove just fine. So rambling on about that on this. The reason the ADD quit, ultimately, if you missed it, my big fat tires ripped the canister off, and without a vacuum canister and pull that ADD when tilting to the right with the vehicle can cause it to disengage. And yeah, so it's just free falling back and forth in there. It's why I had four-wheel drive sometimes and then not. Ultimately, you know how that turned out. So anyway, Oswald's tired. Slim is too. I am too. I just wanted to touch base with you on the Tacoma. As soon as I get a new trailer, I'll show you that. Probably won't have anything to do to it though. 4Runner, just freaking doing awesome after all that wheeling and driving it home after the accident. And I haven't had to do a thing to it but top off the gear oils. No leaks from the front either, from any of the axle seals or where I put it together without sealing it. On the tailgate of my truck in Arkansas, there was a rear differential intermittent leak. Come to find out, I had a stripped bolt back there. I tapped that, drilled and tapped that larger and threaded a larger bolt in there. Saved that, stopped that problem. Enough rambling on. This all I'm doing on here. Agree or disagree with visual inspections, they can be done. This engine is pretty much ready to go in as far as I'm concerned. I don't think I'm going to do anything else to it. Maybe when I pull it, if it looks like it has a oil pan leak or rear main leak, possibly, but doubtful. Next things, we'll be pulling this. Somebody asked me, would I do an engine blow thing on it? I know a lot of people like to do those, and they are pretty entertaining. I enjoy watching them. This already got a hole in the side of the block, but it does fire up and run. I may fire it up and run it full blast until it blows up and hope it doesn't screw up anything. But that's my biggest fear of doing that I'll mess up something that I need. I don't know. So will I do that or not? I've yet to be determined. I rambled on way too long, basically about nothing, because I'm doing nothing more to this than inspecting and tightening a few things. But that's what's next for this engine and transmission as far as I'm concerned. This is a step in the process, so I'm sharing it. If my belt was all cracked, we'd be changing that. If the valve covers were just like crazy mad I would be changing those, but none of that stuff is enough to bother me right now. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you liked my videos and would like to see more. If you're following along on this, I hope you enjoyed this part, because save yourself some money and don't change things that don't need to be changed. Next thing, I'll probably be starting to pull this. I may get the hood off of there, do a couple more things. I got to line on some more wheels and tires for a truck that doesn't run yet. Those are the kind of things that I do. Check links in the description if you're so inclined. Click bells, other things, if you want to do those things. Most of all, Slim and I appreciate you tuning in and hope you have a great day.